Yak, yak, yakety yak. Oh, yak, yak, yakety yak. Hey, yak, yak, yakety yak. Yak, yak, yakety yak. Yak, yak, yakety yak. Yakety, yakety, yakety yak.
Hello, thank you very much for watching the videos, helping, more importantly, to share and spread the awareness of emotional abuse, and that's what these videos are, a resource for people to help them realise what's going on in terms of emotional abuse, what it is, and how to overcome it. In this one, it's just about only that little thing called self-esteem, the root of the problems, or the patterns in terms of emotional abuse, the abuser and the victim. Staying a victim, having low self-esteem. You'll see in other videos I also say that abusers have low self-esteem as well. But in terms of the victims and helping victims, raising awareness, raising your self-esteem, sorry, is the best thing to help you overcome the patterns of guilt, and in the other video I've recently done, guilt and oh gosh, what's the other word? Guilt and S word, I can't remember it. Overcoming guilt. So in terms of that thing called self-esteem, self-worth, how do you build that? That's really interesting. In my Skype sessions I do quite a few different things in terms of the visual things, how you're seeing and interpret things, what you're saying to yourself, and how that's creating feelings for yourself. Of course you want to see big, bright, wonderful possibilities and things happening in your life. You want to hear positive, encouraging words and sounds, and you want to feel good about yourself. And often what's happening is the pattern that is the opposite of that. You see difficulties, crappy things. You hear negative things in your head, and it doesn't make you feel great. You feel bad, and you feel sorry and guilty and responsible and all that sort of thing. So you need to break out of that. Because that's not real, that's just what's been conditioned into us from childhood. But you can overcome it. Well, that's a great thing. I'm looking around because I'm reading one book at the moment, which is a great book, Wayne Dyer, and that's really good in terms of combating your negativity. But the other book that I was really focused on and I found really interesting, I haven't got here because I just lent it to somebody else, but I did take a photo of it, so I'll put the photo here. This book I found really interesting in terms of challenging the voices inside your head. So when I do a Skype session, I can see you, and then I can work with there's so many different aspects. There's so many. It's not one solution to fix all. That's what makes us unique. We're all so different. We're all influenced in a different way from our past, and that gives us a different challenge going into the future. So what I do in a Skype session very often is identify the voice. The negative voice and the positive voice. We have lots of different voices and things, but what you'll find, if you just remember back to a negative thing that you were told, negative thing, you know, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that, you're not, oh dear, you know, it's probably one quite strong memory or a few quite strong memories that you can recall quite easily now. And it's those ones that I often connect, not in terms of the negativity, and you can forget those voices now, but connect with something else in your life, something quite innocuous, like when you make a decision to buy something. Sometimes we make good decisions, sometimes we make bad decisions. I use that just as to get to the strategy and the program we have in our heads about the good voices and the bad voices. What I can do then is help you manipulate those voices. So if you've got a crappy one inside you, I help you get it out, visualize it, and move it. If you've got a good one but it's a bit behind you, you can move it around to where you can see it and use it and trust it more readily. I know it sounds a bit kooky and crazy. Yeah, this stuff works, you know. Anyway, this book is really interesting. It's really opened up for me the level of listening, and I've mentioned many times the kind of books, the Secret, the Power, the Magic. That series of books are really good. The Secret books, in terms of your positivity, helping you realise and raise awareness of your own listening for yourself. because of our conditioning from childhood, from our early experiences, we don't realise that we're taking that into the present and the future with us. So realising how negative you're being inside your head is really useful. Anyway, I've been using this picture. It's been really useful in terms of breaking down the negativity and reprogramming yourself. And I've never done it before, but I've been reprogramming myself with the iPhone. I mentioned it in another one. So I've been using my phone because you can record into it really easily and play back audio. So I've been reading off the affirmations from this book and listening to them morning, whenever, instead of listening to the radio in the car, which I enjoy very much. No time for radio, listen to my affirmations instead. Going to bed, waking up, first thing in the morning, really important, noticing how crappy I can be, but we can all be, in terms of what we're saying to ourselves, the challenges lie ahead. And there was a really good highlighting of this for myself in my other business, where my colleague was using affirmations a lot and getting really good results. It was like, oh, that's really interesting, what's behind that? I should have done them. I say yes, I'll do them, but I've never actually done them. And then reading this book, it was like, okay, yeah, following the structure, really liked what was underlying it, really made sense to a lot of things I'd said and done anyway. But I've never followed the structure in terms of recording them, so I've literally read out the affirmations in the book, listened to them again and again and again, and of course it's that conditioning, repeating yourself, conditioning for good and for better, rather than the negative stuff that we've carried through into the present and into the future. So why not try it yourself? I encourage you very much to get the book. I'd love to hear back in terms of the affirmations you're making. I mean, the stuff I've used before as well, which is make a list of the top 10 crappy things you say to yourself, and you'll know them well, write them out in the list. Interestingly, this book says exactly the same, nothing new, but it says it in a really good way, structured way. The top 10 crappy things you say to yourself in your head, write them down and then reframe them in a positive way using present here and now as if everything's been fixed. Language that's positive, so I'm crappy, I can't do it, I can do this, never in a negative command, because the brain doesn't understand negative commands, it only understands positive commands. So all sorts of stuff that I do in a one-to-one anyway, but in terms of, I haven't had much detail in terms of the videos, the free resource, so I thought I'd share that as well, because I think it's really interesting. So I'd love anybody that's committed there in terms of changing their self-esteem, building it, to take one of these books, but particularly I'll be interested in the audio aspect, the reprogramming your mind, using the system of your phone, listening, or your playlist, whatever, but consistently, being consistent, taking that on as a challenge, and work with me on that. Work with me. I'd love to hear what responses you get from that. Responses for yourself in terms of positive outcomes. And it's the sort of thing that takes a month or two, but you should be seeing results within that time. It can just change the outlook just a little bit for you. And some people I know that contact me are in dire need of that. And I can't help everyone, sometimes finances get in the way, but here's another resource, use that. If you can't afford a book, then email me, maybe I can, anyway, I don't know, email me. Alright, I can give you some guides in terms of what you can do. Okay, I'll be really interested in hearing your feedback. It's the same structure, building your self-esteem. We're crappy on our heads because we're taught how to be crappy, because we've been around crappy. And it wasn't crappy's fault, but crappy was crappy and it infected us with crappy. So get rid of crappy by injecting good. And how we inject good is by building our self-belief. Belief in ourselves. Because it wasn't us, it wasn't our fault. You did nothing wrong. So I hope that makes sense. It's kind of logical, really, isn't it? So let me know what you think. Please continue to help raise the awareness of emotional abuse by sharing, liking, commenting, email me, and yeah, share this stuff. You all have connections that I don't have or know, so please do. One lady, wonderful, in the States, Lisa, thank you very much, said, oh wow, this is great, people need to know this stuff, and yeah, just shared it with loads of people, and it really increased the awareness, so thank you very much to Lisa. But for all of you, keep connecting and sharing, thank you very much. Okay, bye bye.